Hey guys, so today I want to talk to you about some topics from my book, Normal Labs, Broken Metabolism. Specifically, I want to talk to you about the homeostatic hunger driver or leptin resistance. So, what is a homeostatic hunger driver, or what does that look like? Uh, the homeostatic hunger driver is somebody who can eat a full meal and they continuously feel hungry. They're the ones who feel truly hungry throughout the day, and there's no willpower around it. So let's talk about leptin. Leptin is derived from fat cells. Most of us think of fat cells as a just a blob that sits there in our bodies, getting bigger when we get fatter. But the reality is, it's an active part of our metabolism and our hunger signaling. Its job is to secrete leptin, and that happens in response to food intake. So what happens is we eat, leptin is secreted by the fat cells, and it travels to the brain, specifically the hypothalamus and the brain. And the brain receives a signal and it sends a signal out that the hunger is satisfied. And more importantly, or probably equally important, it also lets us know that our metabolism is safe to continue in a normal state. And so what happens over time is that our caloric intake is balanced to our energy expenditure. So when you have leptin resistance, the fat cells continue to work. They're continuing to put out leptin either at a normal amount or sometimes even increased. But the brain stops listening to that signal. And so we never get told, hey, you can stop eating. But probably what's even more concerning is it downregulates our metabolism. And so it sends signals out that tells us that we're in a starvation crisis and that we need to preserve energy. So our basic metabolism is decreased. One of the things that I often hear is eat less, move more. When you have leptin resistance, if you eat less, that signal is actually increased, the signal to slow down the metabolism. So yes, your caloric intake will decrease simply through starving yourself or decreasing your caloric intake, but your metabolism slows down in response to that. And you actually never see that scale or your waist measurements, which is what I prefer to follow. You never actually see that move. When I talk to women about this, or to clients, but in general, it's women because I'm an obstetrician gynecologist. Um, One of the analogies I try to explain when it comes to willpower is, let's say you wanted to stop breathing and you were going to willpower yourself to stop breathing. Well, we can do that. We can do that for a period of time, just depending on how cardiovascularly fit you are. But the reality is, your body's physiology is always going to overcome your willpower. And so, unless you address that underlying leptin resistance in this particular case, then you're not ever going to have the willpower to lose weight. You're never going to have the willpower to get your metabolism where it needs to be because the phys- All right, so hopefully you guys have stuck around long enough to the end and maybe learned something about your metabolism. One of the things I would really invite you to do is follow along because I'm going to cover as much as I possibly can that will help people, whether or not you're my client or not. Um, I'll address most of what's found in my book, but I'll also address other topics like burnout, brain fog, hormone optimization, and other topics that are of considerable interest to me, but also that I find to be very challenging for a lot of the patients that I see. So anyway, thanks for sticking around. Hopefully you'll like the video, share it, do all those things that I don't know anything about because I'm not really a social media influencer type. I just know I'm just trying to get this message out there to as many people as possible.